call this meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Cottonwood, Arizona, to be held July 18, 2017 at 6 p.m. And City Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Allen?
Here.
Councilmember Althouse?
Here.
Councilmember Henry?
Here.
Councilmember Norman?
Here.
Councilmember Pfeiffer?
Here.
Vice Mayor Howdigi?
Here.
Mayor Alinsky?
Here, thank you. Please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next up is brief summary of current events by Mayor, City Council, and/or City Manager. The public body does not propose, discuss, deliberate, or take legal action on any matter brought up during this summary unless the specific matter is properly noticed for legal action. Any council members have anything to report?
I attended a legislative updates meeting with Ken Strobeck last week, which was very informative. He does some really good work for the cities. The biggest one this year was, of course, universities' attempt to capture some of our local funds, and he was able to defeat that and reorganize or point them in a different direction. I did a ribbon cutting for Kinsley and Arndt, new accountants in Cove Parkway, right, your neighbors over there. And then today I attended the Northern Arizona Professional Women's Group quarterly event, which included a fashion show with some of our local merchants. So they're working hard to do the shop local thing. It was pretty neat.
Good, good, good. Any other council members? No? Okay. City Manager, do you have anything to report?
Just two quick items. The annual Cottonwood Community Health Screening Event will be this Friday, July 2nd, whatever this Friday is. 21st. Oh, that's what that is. Okay, July 21st from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. It'll be at the Recreation Center, and these are free screenings, including cholesterol, diabetes, and blood pressure, and this is open to the community. And also join Public Affairs Specialist Jack Burns for a free session on social, for a free class which will answer any questions you may have on Social Security. And this will be a free class, and it's on Wednesday, July 19th from 1 to 2 p.m. Mr. Mayor.
Very good, thanks. Okay, next up we have presentations. We have Library Advisory Board Chairman MARGO Mitchell here to give us an update regarding the Library Board's activities. And this really is part of Council's desire to have better communication with our boards and commissions. So I really appreciate Chairwoman Mitchell being here this evening to update us. Good evening.
Good evening, thank you.
If I could have you just pull that microphone down a little bit so we...
Is this better?
That's great,
Okay,
thank you.
Very good. Okay, I think you may all be aware that the Library Advisory Board is not quite the same as the other commissions are. We are really an advisory board, and we function as a group with its fingers on the pulse of the library. We're not, I think from what I gather from the other commissions, it's a little different. Our function is to be informed as to what is going on in the library in terms of discussing patrons' complaints and suggestions and discussing how to address them. Requests from patrons, such as certain new books that they would like to see in the collection. New programs within the library, and are they successful? How are they working? The board provides opinions regarding prospective grants for the library. We get a review of monthly statistics with each of the meetings that we have, including things like books in, books out, and use of computers and that sort of thing, those kinds of statistics each month we meet. We discuss regarding changes in the library, such as this new, the new conversion to that that larger meeting room that you said will be in use this coming weekend, I guess. And the carpet and chairs that have been in the library since the building was built have been gradually being refurbished and replaced in the last year. And I think we're just about done with the last ones, or are we good? We're done. All right. And it looks really great in there. Let's see. One of the things that we do, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but there are a lot of people who volunteer at the library. And we as the advisory board, we all sign and send birthday cards to the people who volunteer for us. It's a tight group. It's really nice. It's really good. And I mean all the volunteers as well. We talk about what is going on in the library, such as the summer reading programs that include youth services and adult service areas as well. And this has been going on for years. It's an every summer event, and it gets really a lot of attention. The new large meeting room that is getting underway. There soon will be movies shown as part of the adult services area, and people are excited about that. That'll be once a month type thing. Now I'd like to ask you a question. How many of you here have actually visited the library? Wow, very good. I'm surprised. Thank you. Something that I would like to talk about is that some of the statistics that you can understand what goes on here with the library. Not me, not the advisory board, but what's going on in the library. So far this year, we have had 107,576 people in the library. Patrons using library computers, people that don't have their own computers, they have used, for the same period, from January to last month, June, we've had people using them to the amount of 18,927 people using the library computers. There is a job assistance center in the library, and so far this year, 86 people have gone to this. It's a computer that's set up just for people to look for job opportunities. There was a law day in the library a month or so ago. It was a deal keeping people in order, and a lot of lawyers, of course, to help. It was a real success. It was I happened to be there, and it was amazing. And of the summer reading programs, both youth and adults, 679 people have signed up and are participating in that. Now, something that I'd like to mention, and it's not really of the advisory board's bailiwick, but there is a continual concern and discussion about the shortage of space in the library because of all the people that are using the library, how many people are in and out, the programs that are being run, and so forth. And it is becoming obvious that with the numbers of housing that, I guess housing is starting to come up again, there's going to be a time we're going to need a larger library. There is no room there to extend it further. And I would just like to sow a seed that I realize that it's not the first priority, but there are a lot of people who use this in our community, and not just our community as well. There's a lot of people that come here, even rather than go to Sedona, because it's a friendly library. It's a great library. And I wanted to give you, this is my last thing, the comparison in statistics on a couple of things from 2006 compared to 2016. In 2006, there were 12 free computers for people to use in the library. In 2016, there were 33. In 2006, there were users in the number of 11,053, as compared to 2016, 36,536 in a year. There were, in 2006, 417 programs, In 2016, 1,291 programs. And in attendance to these programs in 2006 were 4,471 people. In 2016, 14,897 people. So I think that's fairly obvious that it's used and loved.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any questions?
Any questions from council? I had one question. You mentioned lack of space as being an issue. Are there any other issues facing you, any challenges facing you that council could help out with? Now's your opportunity to rattle off a long list.
When can we start building a new library?
You all have done an amazing job with limited resources, and it really is a great community center, a great,
yes, it is.
Great asset to our community.
It really is. It really is.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
I think Vanessa's going to pop in the back. I think she wants to say something back there.
What was that?
I'm going to make you get up and talk.
I was just going to add parking.
No, you have to come out.
We have,
If you're asking what
if you would just
you're
introduce
about,
yourself, although we all know who you
Vanessa
are.
Ward, the library manager, till February 2nd.
She's not counting or anything.
Parking is a big issue.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Lack of space of parking, we get that quite a bit. So other
Okay.
than that, we're moving right along.
Okay. Very good.
I did not specify that particularly, but that was big on the need a new library.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
And, you know, Mr. Mayor and council members, Vanessa may be forgetting this, but I'll go ahead and bring it up. And first, I'd like to recognize Vanessa and her staff, and because they really have done a great job in building the participation at the library. And one of the things that I think as an interim solution to the space needs would be to be able to expand our hours. And obviously that's a staffing issue. We had to take some cuts during the recession years, and we really haven't recovered from those. But that would be something that, as hopefully our budget, you know, allows, we can come back and put on some more employees to help expand the hours at the library. And you may want to expand on that a little bit.
I was trying to be nice. Okay, if you listen to the statistics that she was stating, that is with 9 full-time employees that we had in '94, same 9 full-time employees we have now. Oh, wow. So staff, I mean, I know it's all over the city, but they work very hard.
One thing you do very well is you keep morale up with your volunteers and your staff, and you do an amazing job with that. So you'll be greatly missed February 2nd.
Thank you.
Chair, yes,
It
please.
was just, I just want to say it was a great presentation. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairwoman Mitchell, for being here. Appreciate it. All right. Next up, we have call to the public. This portion of the agenda is set aside for the public to address the council regarding an item that is not listed on the agenda for discussion. However, the council cannot engage in discussion regarding any item that is not officially listed on the agenda for discussion and/or action. And comments are limited to a 5-minute period. So if there's anybody, I did receive one form filled out from a member of the public. If there's anybody else that would like to address us during call to the public, there's forms in the back. Please fill them out, and you can address the council. So I'll call forward Ms. Schrambling. Good evening.
Good evening. It's nice to be here and be in front of this council again. I was here in February for an issue with the ditch that turned out quite well, and we're very pleased with the new ditch. It should never flood. It's very wide and was very well done. So I have another issue which has been going on for a while. I'm hoping to just put it out there and give you a little bit of information with it, because I don't know how to deal with it, and the way it's been dealt with, it's not working. So I'm sure you received those faxes that, or the emails that, did you receive something from Marianne? And if you read those, you'll see I received a citation last week for a harassment order for cameras that I have up in the back of my property behind my fence line, in where that ditch is, and for being a nuisance. That issue with that ditch and the other problems that are going on back there have been going on since 2009, and a lot of you are aware. I've talked to some of you along the years. They haven't been resolved. They can't be resolved because I've been told I have to have a picture of it occurring. The cameras that went up were surveillance cameras, and I was told to put them up by 2 judges and several officers. I also was told 2 years ago that they could not face the person's house, which we have tried to make sure they didn't face the house, but they did face his yard. That citation, even though I took a picture and you saw the picture of where the camera was, it did take in his yard. Anyway, I am now on criminal charges. I have to go before the judge the 3rd of August. It's escalated to this point, but the horrible part is, for 1.5 years now, I've endured a chemical that's coming into my yard over the fence from that area where that neighbor that I'm having the problems with. Fire department's been called, police have been called, Arizona Department of Environmental Quality has been called. I really have done everything I can. The cameras were protection for me, and that's where I'm at right now, is I feel like my last avenue of protection is being taken away. Everyone I talk to says you should be allowed to have cameras, but he says it's a harassment to him. I know there's no policy on this because I stopped by P&Z. They don't have one. That's why I'm being cited under the Arizona revision. I don't know if there would ever be a policy, but the bottom line is some have done a great job. The fire department came out, there was an article written about it, and if you guys get the journal for May 31st, that's me, that they came to my house to check on that chemical, and they were thorough and professional, and I did appreciate it because we are trying to locate the problem. Other than that, all I can say is I wish this could have been handled years ago differently through the police department. I'm not a police officer, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what's going to happen, but it is hell on earth at my house where my animals can't go outside. I cannot even get to the gate without being sprayed with a chemical that has some kind of a drug effect. At first it was just killing the trees, but now it's a drug effect. And it's not just affecting me. The neighbors are having issues. One is having heart palpitations. I mean, this is a very negative thing, and I'm sorry that I have to bring this negative thing to you, but I literally have went every avenue. This is my last avenue. If I have to keep enduring these chemicals, and I have been to the doctor on them, I don't know where it's going to lead to. But you're aware of it now, and that's, you know, if there's a policy that could take place in the police department or through the city manager where that some kind of prevention or interaction could take place way at the beginning of because I've lived in my house 30 years, he's lived there 20. I haven't even spoke to that man except for since 2009 when these issues started. So it's out there. I don't know what can be done about it, but if you have any ideas and if you want to contact me or if you want to talk to him or the police department, Officer Colt is taking care of this. She has letters from me and reports, and so she's kind of the focal point right now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Ramling.
Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public who wish to address the council? Okay. Okay, moving on to item 7 is approval of the minutes, special meeting of April 11, 2017.
There was just one small grammatical error when it said Mingus Union High School and Union wasn't capitalized. Other than that, it was perfect.
Okay, I'll move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, Mayor made the motion. Councilmember Allen seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Consent agenda, one item on the consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council will be approved by one motion. There will be No separate discussion of these items unless a council member or a citizen so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one item is Resolution 2897, approving an agreement with Northern Arizona Council of Governments for the use of social services block grant funds for the Cottonwood area transit system. Any members of the council wish to remove this item? Members of the public wish to remove the item from the consent agenda? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, Councilmember Norman made the motion and Pfeiffer seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, consent agenda is approved. City Clerk, please read resolution number 2897.
Resolution number 2897, a resolution of the Mayor, City Council of the City of Cottonwood, Yavapai County, Arizona, approving an agreement with the Northern Arizona Council of Governments for the use of social services block grant funds for the Cottonwood area transit system. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, new business. We have resolutions number 2898 and 2899 appointing members to the Parks and Recreation Commission.
Mr. Mayor and City Council, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager, City of Cottonwood. In your packet tonight, information as to the resolution for appointing members to the Parks and Recreation Commission. We actually have 2 people that are interested, so that's a good thing. I just wanted to identify, I'm not sure if either one are here. I think John Crossland, we just got a contact back today. He's up in Colorado. I am unsure about Vanessa DeVee. All right. So just wanting to identify that these terms are 3-year on the Parks and Recreation Commission. One was left vacant by Carol Nielsen. Her term expired on August 16, 2016, and remains to be filled. And then Cynthia Burton also resigned from the commission on in February of 2017, creating a vacancy for the remainder of her 3-year term that expires August 16, 2019. At this point in time, filling of both of these positions would then complete the 7-seat commission at this point in time. If there's any questions.
Any questions for staff from council?
I have one question on, and you may not be able to answer this, and I'll let it go if you can't. John Crossland, same question we had 2 weeks ago. It had a P.O. box, but the actual application didn't have the address either.
I actually, excuse me, Mayor, I actually followed up on that with Amanda Wilbur. I found his address is in the city of Cottonwood, and he's been there for 5 years. But I did follow up with Amanda and ask her to see if we can come up with a different way so that at least the council has access to that address so we can confirm that they've been a resident for that period of time.
I noticed on Vanessa's, she put the address, and then on the public packet, it was redacted, but on our packet, we had it. So if we could maybe have done the same thing for John. I just want to make sure we're being consistent since we asked Mr. Matthews the same question. I want to make sure we're being consistent across all applicants, especially Parks and Recs, because they need to be within the city limits. So as long as it was followed up on that, I'm fine.
And from what my information is, according to the current chairperson, Doug Hulse has identified that this person lives, I think, a couple doors down from him on in Verde Village 8, which is in the city of Cottonwood.
Right. Okay. I just want to make sure.
You got it. Thank you.
We're being consistent.
Right.
So for the members of the public and for the applicant, if there are more applicants than seats available, we have a process that we go through. It's an application committee that basically vets the applicants and makes sure that they're fit for the duties, and they'll come up with a scoring matrix and score the applicants, and then that's presented to council, and then we do a public interview and score you as well, combine those tallies, and then make our selection. But in the case where there are just the right number, in this case, of applicants for the seats open, normally just the council has the applicants come up and introduce themselves, and we ask a couple questions and make the decision here tonight. So if it's council's pleasure, I'll go ahead and call up Ms. DeVee. Thanks for being here this evening. Would you just introduce yourself and let us know what your interest is in serving on this commission?
I'm Vanessa. I apologize for my attire, and I'm terribly nervous, so please forget that as well. I'm here because I want to be a part of the community. My major in college was community development and sustainability. In Prescott Valley, I did the Citizens Academy, and I found it all fascinating. It's my passion, and I like volunteering, and that's it.
We certainly appreciate you filling out an application. Council's privy to your application. You're very well qualified, so
Thank you.
certainly would have no issue appointing you to serve.
I just thanked her for applying.
Yes. Yeah. You're aware of all the times that you meet, and
Yes.
the time commitment's not an issue for you? Okay, great.
Want a motion?
Please.
I move to approve Resolution 2898, appointing Vanessa DeVee, a member of the Parks and Recreation Commission for the 3-year term, which expires July 19th, 2020. And since the other guy's not here, I can do the other one too if you want.
Yeah, it's really up to council. If you'd like to wait until he's back, we can do that and interview him in public, or if you're comfortable just based off his application alone, that's fine.
Okay. I will move to approve Resolution 2899, appointing John Crosslin, a member of the Parks and Recreation Commission, to fill the remainder of a 3-year term, which expires August 16th, 2019.
Second.
Okay, so
We have two motions.
Second on both.
Okay.
so Councilmember Althouse made the motion and Pfeiffer seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, City Clerk, please read resolutions number 2898 and 2899.
Resolution number 2898, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Cottonwood, Yavapai County, Arizona, appointing Vanessa DeVee, a member of the City of Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Commission, and establishing her term of office. Resolution number 2899, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Cottonwood, Arizona, appointing John Crosslin, a member of the City of Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Commission, and establishing his term of office. Mr. Mayor.
Very good, thank you. And if we could, when Mr. Crosslin gets back into town, if we could have him come in and introduce himself to council, that'd be great.
Okay, I'll arrange that when I call them and set up an appointment to administer the oath of office and give them their Board and Commission handbook.
Very good, thanks. Okay, moving on. We have agreement with Action Sports Entertainment, LLC, doing business as Brigade FMX, to perform freestyle motocross performances during the Thunder Valley Rally event scheduled for September 15 to 16, 2017 at Riverfront Park.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Hezekiah with the Parks Recreation Department. On behalf of the TVR Committee, staff is bringing us to your attention. The TVR Committee is requesting Council's approval to procure Brigade FMX Motocross Show at the Freedom Bird Entertainment Park during Thunder Valley Rally. I have Danica Versinio here with the TVR Committee to kind of present their thoughts.
Hi, I'm Danica Versinio. I'm part of the TVR Committee. This year, with the split of the of TVR, with it being in Old Town and at Riverfront Park with the Freedom Bird Entertainment Park, we wanted to bring some diversity, some more entertainment, so that we can take most of the group from Old Town when the streets open back up at 4 o'clock to bring them all down to Riverfront where we have more entertainment. And we thought that the Brigade FMX guys would be perfect for this event. It's kind of the thrill of it. It's stuff that people don't see every day. I, for one, have never seen anything like this before. So we thought that bringing these guys in would ramp up some of the entertainment down there at the Riverfront Park, so that we can kind of draw them out of Old Town. These guys have performed in Ogden, Utah, Steamboat Springs, Fort Collins, Phoenix. They perform at Arizona Bike Week, Chandler, Salt Lake City, Scottsdale. They perform all over the place, and we would like to see council approve them to be at Riverfront Park during the TVR. And we would work with the Applecaint Fence to create a perimeter, and they'll bring their own ramps, provide all their own stuff.
Okay. Any questions from council for Ms. Brasenio?
So is there a fee to bring this group in?
There is a fee, but I'm not actually aware of what it is.
$3,000.
It was in the budget. $3,000.
That was was that in the approved TVR budget?
Mr. Mayor, it'll be within the approved line item for that program. In addition to sponsorship dollars are coming up, so the TVR committee felt that this would be a good avenue. Considering the amount of time that this group performed, it's a good cost to benefit ratio.
I guess I'm confused. If it was in the original cost that we approved, why would you need to come back now for permission from council?
Mayor, I think it's more so to do with the contract and approving the contract.
Okay. Are there any other additional expenses that the committee would incur, that the city would incur? You mentioned fencing and other miscellaneous items. I'm just obviously concerned about, are we going to recoup the cost?
Yep. So the fencing, we actually worked with Yavapai Broadcasting, or Yavapai Fence. They give us a flat rate each year. Pretty much they kind of give us carte blanche when it comes to fencing and what we need. Because of the split and condensing, taking the main venue from Old Town and bringing it down to Riverfront, we're taking that fencing need down to the park. So we're not necessarily asking for more fencing compared to years prior. In addition, your first question, with the $3,000, it's really dependent on insurance requirements. We're working that out right now as far as the $5 million with the umbrella. So the TVR committee is asking if we can have some flexibility there to work with the city attorney and also the risk management department.
In that the $5 million is too high coverage for the...
I think the $5 million is in excess. $3 million is what the city of Scottsdale has asked for. It really would be up to the city attorney and risk management ultimately, but I really do feel like $5 million is in excess.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the sponsorship dollars then. You're hoping to get sponsors to cover the cost? Is this just specific for this, or sponsors for the entire event?
The entire event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They already have several sponsors for the event. All of last year's sponsors have come forward, and I believe new sponsors have already come forward sponsoring the event.
I just didn't know if you were going to take this one motocross event out of the entire package for sponsorship and just try to get people to sponsor this one event specifically, but no. Okay. Any other questions from council?
How long is the performance? Have they given us an idea?
Yeah, they're going to perform with a couple times a day.
The agreement indicates basically 4 to 10 for Friday and Saturday, but they would perform in intermission between the main concerts. When we're doing set changes on the main concert, they'll perform. Another discussion the committee had brought up is they felt that this would get younger people more engaged because it's more of a dirt bike, motocross type style.
Question for Mr. Horton. Could you give us your opinion on this $3 million versus $5 million?
They're both in excess of our ordinary requirements. $5 million's better. We've seen high-risk activities and litigation, and it can easily, defense and settlement costs can easily run 7 figures. It's a business decision. Obviously, as city attorney, and I think Jeff would probably concur, we think more is better. We think it's commercially available. It's not unreasonable. Likewise, I think at the council's pleasure, $3 million would be acceptable. I mean, we've had an aviation accident, and that case didn't wind up costing that much. But trend isn't destiny.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the company has expressed that $5 million is burdensome. They've done this before. $3 million seemed to be the
Yeah, and I believe the TVR committee is on board with that also. The $5 million is just an excess.
Well, I'd be all right leaving that up to the attorney to decide. Be nice to look into the other cities that have hosted this company.
We can, and I think we've reached out, or we will reach out to
Okay.
Southwest Risk, and there are, when we look for outside risk management advice, we'll call Southwest Risk.
Okay. All right, any other questions? No? Do I hear a motion?
I move to contract with Brigade FMX to perform the city's annual Thunder Valley Rally program, subject to approval of the final form of agreement by the city attorney.
Second.
Okay, Councilmember Aldhouse made the motion and Norman seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion's approved. Thank you. Next up is a public hearing regarding a minor amendment to the city's general plan to change a zone classification from MR, medium density residential, to GC, general commercial, in an area of Old Town located on the south side of West Pima Street, 77 West Pima Street, between Cactus Street and Norwood Street. Ms. Najad.
And council members, A.R.S. Najad, Community Development Manager.
Is that the one you want first?
No. Excuse us. This project has two parts, and it is, as you mentioned, it is 77 West Pima Street, a Pima Street parking project. And first part is general plan, minor general plan amendment, and the second part is going to be rezoning. And the reason for the minor general plan amendment is required for this project is for the parking, commercial parking for existing zone, which is R1, single family residential, cannot be built. So applicant is requesting to change that to C1, commercial. In order to change the zoning, we have to change the general plan, land use map. So first portion will be general plan amendment, which is a minor, and with the resolution 2900. And the location of the project is Main and west side of Main and Pima Street in this area. And again, our project area is 0.37 acres, and this project is bringing 32 stalls parking for the applicant's area, and he's also building 14 additional parking on the north side of the street for public use. Again, this presentation will have some overlapping between rezoning and general plan, and I will repeat some of them later. And currently, this is proposed zoning is C1 in order to build the parking lot. Currently, it is R1, single family residential. And land use designation for the general map is medium density residential. And I will show this here again, medium density residential, but all along the main street is general commercial, which that's where we would like to change it to. And the applicant had the neighborhood meeting on March 19th, and P&Z meeting was held in June 26th. This project meets the general plan elements in these areas, goal 3.1, and I will go through these. And its general plan says support growth of the development with well-balanced mix of quality residential, commercial, institutional, and recreational land uses. So this project we are trying to apply the general plan to this proposal. So second one is 3.5, continuous support for revitalization of historic Old Town area as a community-wide asset and source of pride. And economic development element says goal 12-12, promote the historic Old Town downtown area as the city's art and cultural center and unique destination district. before going here, staff believes that all these conditions meet with this proposal. And again, you will see that in the zoning again, but this is the applicant's area with 32 parking lot and with some landscaping areas, and this is the north side, 14 stalls proposed. And again, these are some minor landscaping in this area, and because of this residential, here is this some heavier landscaping. And these are the pictures from the area. Staff recommended approval. Again, it meets all those criteria I listed in general plan. An applicant is here for your, if you have any questions.
Okay. Council, do we have any questions for staff? No. Okay. Would the applicant care to present to council? Good evening.
Certainly. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Alinsky, members of the City Council and staff. My name is Rudy Stottleman. I'm here on behalf of Jerome Properties and Eric Jurison, who is the applicant in this matter. We're here to answer any questions you have. I think council is familiar with this project from a number of perspectives. If you have any specific questions, we'll be happy to try to answer those, either Eric or myself. This has been recommended by staff. It's been described as a perfect use for this subject property, and we think it will go a long ways toward adding a substantial benefit to the Old Town area by way of additional parking, which is sorely needed. Mm-hmm. And this is a great use for this area of town, which will result also in some major street improvements, coincidentally, together with this whole project and the development of the Tavern Hotel. So we see it as a very major improvement and a plus for the city. Any questions?
Any questions for the applicant? No. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is a public hearing. We have received one request to speak from Mr. Roscoe. Would you care to speak on this item, sir?
It's kind of a combination of this and the vineyard, and with your permission, I'd like to address them both at the same time.
Sure. So, you know what, sir, if you don't mind, then should I call you up later when we discuss the vineyard a little further down the agenda? Or would you care to, would you like to present to council right now? Please step forward and we'll.
Well, if we're going to vote on this next, I'd like to hear what he has to say on this project first.
And Mr. Mayor, council, I may be mistaken, but Dr. Roscoe's concern, his reference to the vineyard may be the vineyard over Pima Street, not the vineyard subdivision.
Certainly, right.
That's correct.
Right.
Oh.
Mayor and City Council, I'm Herb Roscoe. It's nice to finally meet all of you. I've corresponded with most of you and met some of you before.
Mr. Roscoe, before you start, the one important thing I forgot to mention is you're limited to 5 minutes this evening.
Thank you. I don't have that long. Just a few things.
Thank you.
Kind of a little frazzled. I had a busy day, and then I got a flat tire on the way down here. But I am going to speak on the connectedness between these two projects. I definitely understand the excitement that everyone has for these projects. When I first heard of it, I thought, wow, it'd be really cool to have a vineyard across the street from my property. My property is located just north of the parking lot on the north side of the street. I still believe that the use of the old building on the hill is a great use for a winery. There's few concerns I have with the use of toxic chemicals in the vineyard in a residential area. When I bought my lot in June of 2016, I planned on building a retirement home. At that time, it was a pretty little canyon with a dirt road access. Since then, the drainage has been changed back there and diverted towards my property. Show the drainage from the hill where the winery is, draining down Pima Street to Main Street. Since then, it's been canyon, which would flow down more onto my property. So I'm concerned with the vineyard because of the chemicals, and the chemicals drifting and draining onto my property. And I think you all have packets of information that I gave you from the manufacturer some of these chemicals can't be used in their standing water. Now, I'm not opposed to Mr. Jerson and the use of his property. I understand that it's extra parking for his hotel and many public parking spaces, which are sorely needed in the downtown area. I am opposed to the retention pond that's been planned to be put back in the canyon. And the reason for that is half of these chemicals can't be used in their standing water. And I'm concerned that the retention of the water in that canyon is going to create a concentration of chemicals that will become toxic, and in the event of a flood could wash over my property and the downtown area. My other opposition is to the parking lot on the north side of the street. It kind of makes this whole area, which was a residential area when I purchased my property, into one big proposal on the other side of the street. I would like to propose that we allow parallel parking on the north side of the street. There's about 240 feet from Cactus Street to the west end of my property, which would leave space for approximately 12 vehicles, I believe. There's also been a wall proposed on that north parking lot, which would block my view of the canyon and the vineyard, so I'm opposed to that. So why not allow parallel parking on the north side of PIMA Street? I've given up a lot of my vision to accommodate these other projects. I'm asking you to please consider my concerns, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Roscoe. Okay, council. Comments, questions?
I just have a question. What is the canyon that was referenced?
Back side of it.
So is it that vacant property right under the foot of the?
It's from Verde Heights down into Old Town.
Could you go back to the overview map? There's a map that was earlier. The one looking the other direction, I think. I thought I saw one that was looking back. Because that's looking towards council, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That one.
That's the canyon?
Is that?
So who owns the canyon? Is that city property, or is that, Dr. Roscoe, is that your property?
It's part of the vineyard property.
The development on the hill?
Yes.
Okay, so they're putting in the retention pond.
The plans that I've seen for the PIMA Street project say they want to put a retention pond.
If we can direct our comments or questions to staff, maybe to speak about the development, that would be easier to handle it in a public meeting. Thank you. So the retention pond, then, to answer Councilmember Henry's question, is to be built on the Galileo 33's property.
Yes,
okay.
and it happens to be a different project for this purposes, but yes, that's behind it.
But the concern is with how that project and the drainage affects this project that we're voting on. So that's what I'm just trying to get clear, because I wasn't familiar with where the canyon was located and the whole interplay between the projects. So how does the rezone, our vote tonight, affect the drainage?
These projects, before coming to you, it was reviewed by different departments and city engineer, public works, and they didn't have any comments, or if there was any problems, they resolved these things already. So by the time it is here, there are no issues on that.
Mayor, council members, the intent of the detention area is to control the drainage in that area, to actually keep it from going on to Mr. Roscoe's property. And then the street also operates as a way to channel any additional waters down to Cactus and onto Main Street.
So just so I'm clear before we vote, though, my understanding from the packet is we're just contemplating a change to our general plan. We're not actually making any kind of a decision or even really properly discussing the drainage. Is that correct?
Correct. This is just general plan,
Right.
and the rezoning is coming up.
Okay, so we will address that drainage issue at a different time.
Drainage issue is already resolved. We already reviewed that, so there's no problem with it, according to the department.
Okay, I'm clear. Thank you.
I believe we have an adjoining property owner who has concerns with the drainage, is what we're hearing tonight. So he was speaking at the public hearing to address his concerns about it, but as far as administratively, that's already gone through the process, and Public Works has no issue with the drainage. And I think retention is part of their requirement to develop that property, is to make sure whatever kind of drainage there is off of their property is retained properly so it doesn't affect the adjoining property owners.
And you will see some of the plans later on.
Okay.
And then as staff reviewed the chemical, I'm sorry, were you still
No,
talking?
please.
Have you already also addressed the issue of the concern with the chemicals?
Well, actually, chemicals issue came later on with Galileo project, not with this one.
Okay.
So they are so close, that's why it is combined right now, but it was in different meeting or different project.
If I can get clarification, so this project that we're talking about now with Mr. Jurison really has nothing to do with the other topic that was discussed. Okay.
That's correct. That's the separate project, Galileo 33, which is the up on the hill. Mr. Jurison's not planning any vineyards or anything like that.
Future meeting.
And then did staff consider the parallel parking? I'm personally terrible at parallel parking. Sorry, but was that discussed and considered?
Again, this was in engineering department. They looked at different options, and we don't look at it. The applicant brings the solutions, alternatives, and we sit down and look at what is the best for the city and what works for this area.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if the engineering department looked at it, but I think this is the most productive way of using, functional way of using that area, so what we can get the most out of that section of the land.
I think with parallel parking, we'd probably be looking at a half or a third the amount of spaces, I would imagine.
I remember we talked about it here in council when we approved all the parking spaces and all the changes. I remember we talked about it.
Right, Mr. Mayor and Council, in the context of the right-of-way abandonment on the other side and the creation of the parking spaces and that public-private partnership, that's when it was discussed. And yes, the parallel parking was evaluated by staff.
And I can completely understand Dr. Roscoe's concerns about being next to a parking lot. I too live in Old Town and was there before a parking lot was built. Now there is one, and it.
And you said that at the last meeting. We talked about this.
Certainly, and that's really why I was kind of an advocate to make sure that we had things in place to make living next to a parking lot more pleasant, or at least as unpleasant as possible. And I think that's when the wall came in to shield the headlights and noise abatement and all that kind of stuff. So it is important, I think, that we look at opportunities as we develop Old Town to eke out any kind of parking at all. Parking is always going to be an issue. We'll always be chasing parking shortages, but any opportunity we can to squeak in a few parking spaces is a good opportunity to pursue. And in this case, we have a private developer who's willing to do that for the city, so that's an even bigger bonus.
That's a question.
Please.
How high is that proposed wall that we're talking about?
I will be talking about it in the rezoning section.
Okay.
I separated this, otherwise it was all together one.
So then is council comfortable then with approving resolution 2900? Okay.
Make a motion?
Please.
I move to approve resolution number 2900, amending general plan designation for the subject property from MR medium density residential to GC general commercial.
Second.
Okay, Councilmember Allen made the motion and Pfeiffer seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, resolution is approved. City Clerk, please read resolution number 2900.
Resolution number 2900, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Cottonwood, Yavapai County, Arizona, approving a minor amendment to the city's general plan. Mr. Mayor.
Okay, moving on, ordinance number 626, amending the zoning map of the City of Cottonwood, Arizona for a parcel of land located at 77 West PIMA Street so as to change certain district boundaries and classifications thereof from the present zoning of R1, single-family residential, to C1, light commercial, first reading.
Location and the site is again R1 zone, and we are trying to change it to C1, general, commercial, light commercial. And these are again repeated in P&Z meeting was June 26th, and quorum was with 4 members, and this project was approved, recommended for approval 4-0. And these are the landscape areas, and there will be some lighting, meeting the dark sky ordinance with existing ordinance. And you see this 14 parking lot on the north side, and there will be a wall 6 foot high to give protection to the next residential site. And these are, I'm sorry, this is the landscaping area, trying to keep the area buffer for from the residential, Mr. Rasco's residence. And here's the elevation of the wall that will be, this property will be protected. This is the solution was provided by the applicant, and staff recommends approval.
Are there any questions for staff from council? No. Please.
Did I miss something? How tall is that wall?
6 foot.
6 foot.
That's what's allowed in residential areas or commercial.
3. Didn't we discuss a 3-foot wall? Started talking about a 3, then showed it up, and pulled it down. We were all over the place.
Okay. The applicant is here this evening if you wish to present.
Oh, have we talked about this a lot of times? Hi, my name is A.R.S. I am the applicant for this parking lot, which has been the big project of the hotel, due to a lot of land trades with my neighbor. And this is even though I am definitely the one who's writing the checks, other than the decision-making part, this has been a public-private partnership the whole way through. I have been with the town, you know, Morgan, the engineers, and this was a group effort between the contractor and everybody to come up with this plan. And what we're really trying to do, and I don't want anyone to think that, you know, the last thing I personally, I think I hope to most of you think I've proven it, would want to put an eyesore in Old Town. You know, I picture this road looking like the big wide streets of Prescott. You know, you can picture how they have lots of parking in the old square area where they pull into these parking places. I understand my neighbor's concern, and that's he bought a tough lot because it is in the low part of Old Town and in a hole, and I understand that because I own buildings in a hole. If you were to leave here tonight, you'll see I have sandbags at the tavern in Bocce ready to go because we flood down here. We have water issues. It's the best use for the area. I think between the landscape, the parking, I think it's going to look great. We worked hard also with our other neighbor for the vineyard project above to trade the corner because they want to have a walkway to enter through Old Town and walk their way up to their restaurant and vineyard up top there. I was at the planning and zoning meeting when Mr. Roscoe brought up the chemicals then too, and I had spoken to him after and at the meeting. I live in a vineyard. I have a vineyard for my home. And you know, a grape, and you'll hear people come and talk about this. To make a grape, it's a weed. You don't really put much water on them. You starve them. That's how you make them sweet. And I have yet to put a chemical or anything that's not natural on the vineyards, and I think that's how most of the vineyards here work. When you hear a lot about these chemicals that he was referring to, that's sort of when people want to grow grapes where grapes shouldn't be, I believe. You know, when they get mold, or it's like Georgia, for instance, where it's all this humidity, which isn't really a wine grape's best friend. That's why we do so well with the wine, is because of our dry climate, even though it doesn't look at this month. Anyway, that's all I have. Any questions I can answer about the street, parking? I've talked to you many times.
I did have
one more time.
A follow-up question
Sure.
about the wall. When we last discussed it, it was my understanding we were considering more of a smaller 3-foot wall. What can you tell us? What is it brick? What is the material?
The engineering part of it was it's in your ordinance that it has to be 6 feet.
Okay.
You know, you know, so that way cars, you know, headlights don't. You know, he might want the wall shorter, but the next homeowner could ask, why did you put a 3-foot wall on commercial district on the parking lot? You know, it would be less money for me to build a 3-foot wall, you know, because it's a long wall. The material of the wall, we have the split face block, and what we're really trying to do is bring my 3 buildings in the parking lot together, so it all, including the house on the corner I own, and we're doing a minor remodel on that to bring all these properties together, you know, to have uniformity on the corner, trying to make a presence.
Thank you. And I think we had discussed the concerns about the shorter wall, and so this was just news to me that we had decided on the 6 foot. So, you know, I'm excited about extra parking in Old Town, as I think I've been very vocal at all of our meetings. So I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. All right, any further discussion? Okay, then I will move to approve ordinance number 626, amending the zoning map of the city of Cottonwood, Arizona for a parcel of land.
It's the first reading.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Excuse me. It's the first reading, so there's no action at all. My mistake. Thank you, Ms. Najad. Heard you whispering over there. Figured I was doing something wrong. All right, moving on then is.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. City Clerk, please read ordinance number 626 by title only.
Ordinance number 626, an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Cottonwood, Yavapai County, Arizona, amending the zoning map of the City of Cottonwood, Arizona for a parcel of land located at 77 West Pima Street, APN 40632-023B, so as to change certain district boundaries and classifications thereof from the present zoning of R1 single-family residential to C1 light commercial. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Okay, next up on the agenda is item 6, the Vineyards at Cottonwood proposed First Amendment to Development Agreement and Phase 1 Assurance Agreement. So just to kind of cue this up for council here, I know that we have some proposed changes to the development agreement that's in our packet. I don't think we've fully agreed on all the terms. Our attorney, our contract attorney, and the applicants, all the applicants are here this evening, so I would like to have an opportunity to be able to ask any questions from staff, but I would also like us to have an opportunity to go into executive session and get some legal advice from our attorney.
After the discussion or before?
Before.
Okay.
I move that we go into executive session for discussion with our attorney. Second.
Okay, so Councilmember Henry made the motion, Vice Mayor Hodeggy seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we'll move into executive session. We should be out shortly. Please stick around.